Hello. I can already see we've got a 5x5. That's brilliant. I think I'm going to do that all the time, run an intro while people are coming on board, waiting for the lag, etc. Boy, have we got a show tonight. The stuff, I'm not joking, I'm still getting stuff to add to tonight's show. It's bonkers. There's news breaking of this now. This is fresh. This is nuts. Let me just come out of the chat real quick. Right, okay. We're going to get straight into it, boys and girls. We've got the 5x5 done. We're rolling. The 4th of June. So not far away now, 4 or 5 days, okay? The stuff that's coming down the pipe in Brussels is going to be mega. 100% mega. It's nuts. We have got countries from all over Europe going to Brussels all at the same time. Can you imagine the logistics, the cost of getting tractors and lorries and everything else from all over Europe all to Brussels? Yeah. But the weird thing is, and this is weird, someone mentioned this in the chat earlier, and you're absolutely on point. Because we're an aware prepping channel, on exactly the same date, this is happening. Yes, it's not very often we get a straight planetary alignment precisely at the same time, going right up to Saturn. Yes, Saturn, the communication. Unbelievable. It's going to be huge. It's mega. Like I said, we have got other things happening as well. It's not just the farmers' protest. If this goes nuts, like it could do, because there's enough pissed off people, not just in Europe, but globally now, with all of the bullshit that's going on. Okay. We have got the Euro elections on the 6th, 2 days after. So we are looking right at history now. Okay. Since 2020, and maybe before that, all of the problems we had politically going on in Europe and indeed the West, in America too, was the left-wing arseholes have decided to take over. Yes, fact. Look at Biden, okay? Look at what's happening in Europe. And it very soon could happen here in the UK if Labour get in, okay? The left-wing lunatics, the guys who love the woke stuff, the guys who love the Palestinian stuff, the guys who love Ukraine, etc., the guys who love wearing a mask, the guys who love taking a poke. All of the BS is the left. When you boil away the piss, it's essentially what it is. Now, what's happened in Europe already? Holland and Italy have already a right-wing leader. But have you seen the polls lately leading up to this election, which is in 6 or 7 days' time? Not far. We have got Finland, France, Slovakia, Belgium, and Austria all have right-wing leaders way out in front in the polls. So if there is a majority of right-wing, what the hell is going to happen to the EU? What about the EU commissioner, that evil woman? Oh my God. If you really want to see a truly evil bitch, here she is. This crazy, fanatical lunatic, we've been watching her speak on many World Economic Forum events. We stand with Ukraine. Basically, anyone who has a Ukrainian flag is absolutely brainwashed and part of the agenda, hence part of the problem. All of the people that we see on these videos here, okay, are unelected people. Unelected. No one. Look at her and a silly bell. Wow. What would be hilarious when she rings that bell, loads of people run into that room and do the right thing. Okay. It's crazy. All of the people that we are seeing. Oh my God. She actually looks evil, to be fair. Unbelievable. So all of these people, like we've been watching, no one voted for any of these people. No one at all. They are absolutely creaming money out of people who live in Europe. And it's got to stop. So she, Ursula, is the in charge of the EU Commission. We're just wrapped up on the screen. We've still got people coming into the chat. Nearly 500. That's awesome. Tell your friends. Share the video. Even if you're watching this in a replay, please share it. I've already had a video got pulled the other day, and these look like they are time sensitive. Okay. All right, here we go. So, yes, these are the leaders. Okay. Don't forget, none of these have been elected democratically by us, the people. Look, next election is not far. It's this year. Only, wow, look at that, 25 more rows of them. All of these evil, lascivious, disgusting scumbags are absolutely taking the rice in every single way that you could possibly imagine. All of these people, in my opinion, should be straight to prison for life. And that's it. No parole. You stay there. You guys and girls are truly evil people. And oh, this guy, whoa, he gives me the creeps. So yes, the farmers have literally had it up to here, and they are going to Brussels, and they estimate there's going to be over 1 million. We are talking from every single country all across the European Union. Let me just get some of these off the screen, because we're rolling with this live now. Right. Even the Polish farmers, okay, look at this. Angry farmers coming to take down Brussels. They have absolutely had it up to here with what's been screwed at the Polish farmers with what's going on in Ukraine. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you what's been going on with Ukraine and Poland. It's an absolute disgusting travesty what's going on there with their grain exports and imports. It's just unbelievable in the highest human level of retardedness. That's how bad it's got now. It's crazy. So the weird thing is, like I said, we have got those elections all at the same time. Now we're just going to hop over onto my page on Twitter so you can see what's going on. I've already been reposting to No Farm, No Foods. There's the video live going on right now with all of the hashtags. This wasn't that long ago when we saw the unification of many farmers. We are going to see more than that, believe it or not. This stuff's coming down the road real fast. Right, I want you to listen to this whilst we wait for other people to join the chat.
To consumers, modern farming is under attack, blamed for causing climate change. The world has watched as Dutch farmers fight for their economic survival against demands that they shrink their operations to suit the government's climate change agenda. The government has told farmers to cut ammonia emissions by 50%, and those near protected areas must reduce their operations by as much as 95%, or they must sell their land to the government and face a lifetime ban from farming. Farmers responded by spraying government buildings with manure, and police shot at this 16-year-old boy. Jos Ubels, vice president of the Farmers Defense Force in the Netherlands, tells us negotiations are not going anywhere, and a bad situation is continuing to escalate.
We are fighting for our rights to produce and to live as a human being in our country, in a democracy, where we have the right to go on the street to protest against legislations, and we have the right to produce via our permits. If you check our production rates and how we work, we produce very high level, very high scale, good healthy food, traceable, all with a little environmental impact.
Farmers around the world who are also seeing their way of life under attack have demonstrated in solidarity. American farmers who are already subject to a host of regulations could face even more restrictions. But politicians should view what happened in Sri Lanka as a cautionary tale. Sri Lanka's ban of chemical fertilizers in farming caused the struggling nation's agricultural sector and then its economy to collapse. It ended with protesters frolicking in the presidential swimming pool after the nation's leader fled the country. Sri Lanka was supposed to be the poster child of modern organic farming. The World Economic Forum even proudly posted this article about Sri Lanka's future success, written by the Prime Minister whose house was set on fire by protesters. Parts of the world already face famine because of a shortage of chemical fertilizer due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The same kind of fertilizer environmentalists want to reduce. Washington attorney Gary Bass, who helped start the Environmental Protection Agency in 1970 and now says it should be abolished because it's Orwellian, owns 11 farms in Illinois. He calls what the Dutch government is trying to do to its farming sector madness and sees signs a similar movement is coming to the U.S.
Agriculture is an easy target, both from the animal standpoint and from guys like me who put a lot of anhydrous ammonia on their corn crop. They're going after methane, which is belched by cows. AOC has it wrong. They do not FART, the methane, they belch it.
Bass believes the era of cheap food at the grocery store is over, not just from inflation, but because of growing environmental regulations on farming, and says Sri Lanka should be a warning to leaders who want to experiment with food production.
That's what happens when you don't have food.
Nevertheless, the Biden administration appears to be coming after farmers. Steve Malloy, editor of the website junkscience.com, writes that a new study by the EPA claims that farm dust kills 17,000 Americans per year, the same EPA standards that basically killed the coal industry.
These are people who want to control every aspect of our lives, and that includes energy production and use and food use. They believe food production is a major contributor to global warming. They're not going to give up on agriculture. They don't like agriculture.
Former U.S. Ambassador to the Netherlands, Piet Hoekstra, says if the Dutch government wins this battle against its farmers, who are the second largest exporters of agricultural products in the world behind the United States, it will only make the global food shortage worse.
The global food shortage worse. That's how serious this is. Now, another really creepy thing, last year, 2023, the EU Commission, they passed legislation to ensure that all farms across Europe use Roundup. Glyphosate, I think it is. That really bad, disgusting, one of the worst toxic chemicals you can put anywhere on the ground. Roundup. Yes, for the next 10 years to be used. So that gives you an idea of how evil and corrupt the European Union actually are. Okay, it's bonkers. Right. Like we said about Poland, all of these countries, there's lots of this, and I mean lots of this, all over social media right now. This protest, which is going to be coming down the pike to Brussels, is going to be probably the biggest that we're going to see. It's been so well organized. They've had so much time to pull it off. The level of communication which we all share now has absolutely made this possible. But one of the scary things to mention about all of this is what we are able to do now, i.e. to share all of these information and to organize in such a way. The time for doing stuff like this is running out. Okay, we've already spoke about the World Economic Forum and their plans to literally stop disinformation and misinformation. Basically, anyone who says anything against all governments around the world and all of the mainstream media, anyone that says anything against it will be classed as misinformation and disinformation. So this could be the year that all of these big protests need to happen, because next year, the way it's looking, it's going to be very, very difficult to organize online. That's how crazy, serious and scary all of this stuff is getting. Okay. Right. So what are we talking precisely? It's the elephant in the room again. Unbelievable. Can you believe that? Yeah. It's the old net zero thing. We spoke about this before. But when we're talking about the net zero, the carbon, the bullshit, pretty much, do we know what's happening here in the UK? Okay, I know this video is all about what's going on in Europe with the protest, but I feel that this needs to be understood. Now, I'm urging everyone who's watching this video right now, can you please share it? Because we really need to get as many people on board as we possibly can. When we talk about our own, okay? Now, I've mentioned this in previous videos, and I'm going to keep on saying it because this needs to sink in, boys and girls. This really is serious now. Look at this. Do British farmers still get subsidies? Since 2021, BP's payments have been reduced year on year and will end in 2027. Yes, you heard that right. Farm subsidies in the UK will end in 2027. That's insane. This year's payments are expected to be about 50 to 70% lower than what farmers in England received in 2020. So in 4 years, farmers are already going to be getting 50 to 70% less subsidies from the government. And in 2027, 25, 26, 27, that's 3 years or less than 3 years, 2.5 years. It's going to stop. So where does that leave us here in the UK? It leaves us up shit creek without a paddle. Because when you try to fully understand the ramifications of what I've just said, farm subsidies will stop in 2.5 to 3 years' time. Stop. So when that happens, how many farmers in the UK do you think can carry on farming and make a profit to sustain their families, etc.? How long do you think that's going to go on with zero subsidies? I'll give it 1 to 2 years max. And even that 1 to 2 years are going to be skeleton farms. What do you mean skeleton farms? Well, not many farms, only the farms that are extremely wealthy, who are really passionate about what they do, and they could literally run the whole farming business for 1 or 2 years at a huge loss. Not many farms are going to do that. That is the severity of this situation. And what's going to be going down in Europe in a few days' time is going to be massive. I urge you to watch what's going on that day. It's going to be all over social media. It's going to be massive. And you remember when I've done live streams about what happened in Brussels before, when they had those flimsy little barricades with barbed wire and things like that? Well, it'd be very interesting to see what sort of tactics they switch, because everyone's had the heads up on this protest. Okay, that includes guarding the European Union building. Okay, It's going to be very interesting to see the differences. Now, like I said, there is expected to be well over 1 million people in attendance in that protest. So how many police and riot police, etc., do you think are going to be available to contain that number of people? And then literally that protest is scheduled to go on for 2 days, the 4th and the 5th, okay, a minimum of 2 days. If the French get involved and the Polish have it up to here and the Dutch start jumping on board, that 2 days could easily run to a week, easily. And that's absolutely going to coincide with these elections. Now, if these elections run the way that the EU Commission want them to run, i.e. to have the left majority to carry on another term in their unelected office, should that happen, we are absolutely 100% going to see a shit hit the fan in Europe. It's as simple as that. And do you know what? We're probably not far away here in the UK. I've already spoke about the protests and the riots that are going to happen this year in 2024. Now, everyone has been squeezed since 2020, especially, okay? Everyone is sick and tired and had it up to here with all of the crap, all of the massive grand larceny of robbing finances from us, the working people, going into the hands of the very few. It is absolute robbery, theft of the highest order. And people are literally really, really struggling now. Financially, it's just incredibly hard to get by. And they are just going to keep squeezing and squeezing and squeezing away. They don't care. They don't give a shit. We're talking about leaders with zero empathy. They don't care whether you're starving or you can't heat your home, you can't feed your kids, you can't clothe your kids because there's just not the money to do so. Everyone's struggling, and these selfish, greedy, evil bastards in the European Union just grinning and laughing. Well, what's going to happen when 1 million angry people turn up to that building where maybe 1,000 police? 1,000 against 1 million? Who do you think is going to win that one? This time it's different. We've already had the farmers protest in Europe before. And shall we say that was a training exercise? Everyone involved, whether it's the police or the protesters, were literally learning and understanding and probing weaknesses. So when they do it again for real, which is a few days away now, it's going to be huge. It's going to be ridiculously big. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this is portrayed across social media. Okay. Especially when you've got YouTubers on the scene in Brussels. There's going to be people with their phones on TikTok, on X, Twitter, etc., doing live streams. It's going to be unbelievable. Now, my only hope is that this strong, and it needs to be a frigging big, strong message to be hammered home to those greedy bastards who are screwing over all of Europe with their bullshit net zero climate bullshit agenda. It's 100% bullshit. I'm hoping that the people watching this video right now agree with what I'm saying. All of this net zero, this climate change, all of these rules and regulations is absolute bullshit. When I went to the farmers' protest in Cardiff a few months back, it was unbelievable to see a massive turnout in the rain, only to be met with an absolutely group of pacifiers. And the mood when everyone left was, wow, nothing really happened. Let me tell you this. When that sort of thing happens, there will be a next time. And when the next time comes, it's going to get freaking ugly, bloody quick. There's no choice because there is so much anger there. And people have already made a huge effort. Let me tell you this. Farmers, not just in England, not just in Wales and the UK, but all over the world, farmers work their asses off. These are real people really struggling to provide food for people. It's as simple as that. And yes, some people say farmers get loads of money, but the money that they've got to spend on maintaining agricultural equipment, do you know how much tractors cost? Hundreds of thousands. Combines. It's ridiculous. It's obscene. The amount of money all of this machinery, kit and equipment costs, how much land costs, how much farm managers have in salaries, etc. It's very, very hard. It's one of the hardest jobs you can imagine, actually. And they are getting screwed. They are getting screwed into the ground. And we, the people, what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to sit back, do a few tweets and just go and watch EastEnders or watch the football match? It's time we started doing something, because let me tell you this, the time for talking is coming to an end. This is the year 2024 where action needs to happen. Okay, protests are going to be big, and they probably are going to turn rough, probably riotous, because we already know, we've highlighted, we've exposed the counter protesters. They are out there. They are going to be getting into these protests and making it ridiculously unfair. It's always happened before, and it's always going to continue to happen. So these farmers who are working their asses off, do you know how much they are going to give up to stop working for 1 or 2 days? Well, it's going to be more than that. You know, just imagine if you was in Portugal or Spain and you had to make your way all the way over to Brussels or from southern Italy. How long is that going to take with a tractor? Are they going to put them on trailers? Are they going to tow them? Are they going to put them on trains, or whatever it is? Either way, it's a huge logistical nightmare and very expensive, because let me tell you this, when farmers take a day off, which they never really do, but when they do, it costs them a fortune, because the animals still have to be fed. Everything still has to be checked and maintained and run. You can't just have a day off if you're a farmer. It's the hardest job in the world. They work Christmas days, etc. Very, very hard working, very fair, honest, sound people, actually. I live right in the middle of a farming community here in Wales. And let me tell you this, these guys and girls work their bollocks off. So we owe it to them, because they need our help right now, big time. They really need our help, because if we don't help these guys now, in a few years' time, there won't be enough food for everyone. Did you hear what I just said? There won't be enough food for everyone. Okay, so if you're new to the wonderful world of preparedness, now is the time to start putting some food away. Because let me tell you this, over the next 2 to 3 years, food is going to get very expensive and very hard to find. And if you think I'm fear-mongering or doing scare porn or whatever it is, let's have this conversation in 2 or 3 years' time. So there's preppers out there who are completely unaware, who completely went along with the BS. They wore the mask, they got poked, they've done as they're told, and they don't think, you know, nothing's that bad going on. They don't believe that there's shadow government and all this. These preppers are going to come unstuck pretty quick. And it's embarrassing, really, because we're trying to build an aware community here of real preppers, people who know what they're doing, people who learn skills, people who acquire kit and equipment and own food and grow food and know why the problems that are happening. This is the big difference. You've got spineless preppers and you've got aware preppers. The spineless preppers, they prep for things like, I don't know, bad weather or maybe, you know, a food shortage or something. But they never ask why there's bad weather. They never ask why there's a food shortage, because they're spineless. They're too scared to open their eyes, to wake up and to absolutely look what's going on. That's what makes this community here really special. We are trying to educate and help as many people as we can. And you can do that straight away by sharing this video. I'm not joking. If this goes out on Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, Telegram, etc., it seriously helps. Okay, it really does. So not far, only a few days away now, well, we are going to see a mammoth protest in Europe. And as soon as I get any more information about this, trust me, I will be bringing you guys up to date. I've already had a look what's going on Twitter, and we've already informed No Farms, No Food, that X group that I told you about a year ago now. Okay, and it's good because more people are following on board. These people are getting their message out everywhere. The amount of rural places that I've seen in Wales now with no farmers, no food, trust me, it's a thing. Okay, and if you guys living in England or Scotland or wherever it is, if you're living in towns, next time you pop out to the countryside for a drive or whatever it is, you might be surprised that there's lots of signs up going everywhere. No farmers, no food. At the end of the day, the people, we're the ones who are going to be shit out of luck. It's only because of these evil, disgusting, demonic pen pushers in government. The European government, they weren't even elected. The people didn't even have a vote. How corrupt is that? And we can talk about the Tower of Babel and all that. I know about all that stuff in the Club of Rome, etc., etc., etc. Right, just got to close this and check. Carl and Erica over on PayPal, thank you for that. Thank you to Oliver and Owen. That's awesome. And congratulations to Owen and Bell's Angels for becoming a new member. Thank you very much indeed. Truly appreciate the support. Those guys and girls who are subscribed to the newsletter, 6,376 emails went out this morning. So there's lots of extra information and stuff in there which doesn't come out here on YouTube. So if you haven't signed up to that, if you're new here, firstly, thank you very much for finding me and supporting this channel, hitting the thumbs up, sharing the video, subscribing, and notification bell is on. We are doing a good thing. We are doing work to help people. And like I said, I'm not joking. These farmers, they seriously need our support. Time is running out, because if we don't help these farmers, it's you or I who are going to be going, do you know what? Food's getting a bit expensive. Went to Tesco's and there's not much food in there. Christ, I wish I had loads of food in the cupboards or something. Like I say, boys and girls, now is the time. Now is the time. Stock up on food, okay? A little bit at a time. Don't go crazy. We still have time, okay? We want to start with rice, pasta, tinned meats, okay? Keep them in a cool, dry place and forget about them, all right? Because one day you're going to be glad that you've got those in reserve should you go down to the supermarket and there's shortages. Incidentally, in the 4th of June, in a few days' time, when all of these farmers all over Europe go protesting, they're not going to be working. There's not going to be hardly any fresh food available from farmers during that week. Now, how much food do we get imported from Europe? I would like to guess that Holland is the biggest exporter of fruit and veg. And when we go to supermarkets here in the UK, when you look at the country of origin from all of your fruit and vegetables, how many of them will say EU countries? All I'm saying is a bit of a heads up. Expect to have fresh food shortages over the next 10 days or so. When this starts, there's not going to be much coming out of Europe. And are we supplying enough here in the UK? Is the weather good enough? It's already been put back late because of climate change and how bad the rain's been. So yes, our harvest here in the UK is going to be piss poor. And I suspect maybe Europe as well. And on top of that, you've got protests where no food is being produced. So what does that tell you? Food is going to be a little bit scarce. It might not be biblical, but it could be enough. Okay. And if you're growing your own fruit and vegetables, kudos to you. It's exactly what a true prepper should be doing, is supplying food for his or her family. Because when we go through times coming up in the next couple of years, trust me, if you haven't got a garden on the go by then, you are going to be in the shit unless you've got a year or two's worth of really good quality food already put away. Tin food, packet food is good. Okay, you're not going to be doing very well if you eat just that. I personally subsidize my food. Okay, I've got tins, I've got packets, dried stuff, wet stuff in tins. I supplement them with what I grow in my garden and what I can forage in the hedgerows out in the countryside. You add all that together and you're doing pretty good. Okay, if you've got no rice or pasta, okay, do you know how difficult it is to grow wheat to make your own pasta? Do you know how much room you're going to need? So pasta and rice are really good investments. Trust me, they will keep for donkey's years too. Just remember, a cool, dark place. Any damp, any warmth, any sunlight, you've had it. It will all have to be chucked. Within a year, it'll be spoiled. So that's some free tips there. Don't forget, there's loads of links underneath this video. I would urge you to check them out before you stop this video. You might be in for some surprises. There's some good things underneath the video. So I would like to thank everyone who's taken part coming and watching the video. Everyone who shared this video, you guys are awesome. I know who you are. You really do help out by sharing the videos. Hit the thumbs up before you go. That really helps. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, and sign up to the newsletter. Job done. There will be more videos like this coming as and when this situation develops. And don't forget, we've got a big problem on Saturday. There will be a live stream tomorrow on Friday talking all about what's coming down the pipe in London this Saturday. Don't miss it, okay? 8 p.m. British summertime right here. Lastly but not least, thanks to all the moderators and everyone who's donated. You guys are fantastic. I really mean that. You guys are brilliant. So you guys take care. See you in the morning for a live stream, and again 8 p.m. tomorrow for that big one. Tomorrow's Friday night live stream will be massive. 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Don't forget it. You guys take care. Thanks for watching. Stay funky.